What's up, Bronco Nation? I'm Evan Sanford, and today I'm joined by Chase Glorfield, Karter Davis, and we are the Bronco Country Roundup.
What up,
Back,
y'all?
Yeah.
back again after kind of an eventful week. We were planning on just doing it every other week, but it's like, hey, we actually have something to talk about this week. So here we are. So Boise State basketball, we'll cover them a little bit today. We've got some NFL draft news brought to you by your favorite podcaster, myself. We have
Yep.
some new recruits coming to campus. And then we got the 2025 football schedule. We're going to talk about all that. And who knows, we might get on some tangents too. So let's just get started, Chase.
I don't think there's any
Basketball.
might about it. We are going to go on some tangents. So
Yeah, I think we're pretty reliable in that regard.
Maybe.
All right, so basketball, they beat New Mexico. That's a huge win for this
they
team.
did.
Go ahead, tell us about it.
Yeah, Boise State beat New Mexico at home, 86-78. Big time win for the Broncos at home against the team that was number one in the conference. There was some non-basketball action on the court. I think Donovan Dent, the New Mexico player, got a former Boise State player in a sense kicked out of the game. Like there was this whole thing going on. But Tyson Degenhardt, our man, had 32 points. I think that was his career high. And freshman Pearson Carmichael had 20, I think. He was the first freshman to score more than 20 since Degenhardt. It's a big one for Boise State. It's a quad one win. It keeps them in the hunt for at-large berth. So got a lot of work to do right now. Joe Lunardi has them as the first four out. So there's still a little bit of work to do. Yeah,
That's
so
improvement.
they're hanging around. They've lost some games they shouldn't have, but they're still doing okay. Right now, 18 wins, I believe.
Yeah. So tonight, is their next big test, and this afternoon, I should say, against Nevada, and that's
at Nevada.
in Nevada, in Reno. This is a big game. At this point, Chase, how many wins do you think, like, if Boise State is going to turn this ship around and get into the tournament, sneak an at-large bid, what do you think it's going to take?
Yeah, I think because of the loss to Boston College, a team ranked like over 200 in the net rankings, they need to get up to 25 wins. So if they win these next 5 games, that would get them up to 23, which means they need a couple of wins in the conference tournament in Vegas. I think you could afford to lose one game as long as it's not against like Nevada or Fresno State. Still have Utah State and Colorado State left. I don't know. I think Utah State's the only team that they could lose to and still get an at-large bid.
So this one's a must-win today.
Yeah, you have to win. You can't lose on the road. You can't lose to Nevada. They're a sub-500 team. They can't lose if they want to have any chance. If they drop one of these games, like I said, maybe outside of Utah State, they're going to have to win the conference tournament.
Okay, which I mean, like that wasn't that long ago that Boise State went into Vegas and won the Mountain West tournament. So doable, tall order, but doable.
Yep, they got 2 road games, like I said, at Nevada today, and then at Fresno on March 1st, and then a couple of. Then they're at Air Force as well. And then a couple of home games, so it's still there for the taking.
So right now, currently with the Mountain West, they're looking at Utah State, New Mexico, and is San Diego potentially another team, or are they on the bubble?
Yeah, so San Diego State was one of the last 4 in. Last I looked, Utah State's pretty much a shoe-in. New Mexico's a shoe-in. Colorado State's got to do some work. They're probably right around the same spot where Boise State is, and Utah State's, there's could get up to 4 teams or up to 5 teams. The Mountain West, it just depends on how things go.
So it's win or die.
Yep, got to do it.
Yeah, so should be an exciting one in Reno today. So tune in, cheer on the Broncos. If you're not doing anything else, might as well.
And happiness is Reno in the rearview mirror.
Yes. Happiness is sadness in Reno.
Yes, also true.
I enjoy it when they are unhappy. So there's our Schadenfreude of the day.
Nice.
All right, moving on. NFL draft. So I'm going to be there. The NFL draft is on April 24th in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just so happens I know a couple people from the area. Monday, they just, in our like group chat, they hit us up like just logistics and was like, you guys, let's go. It's not like it's like Dallas or Miami or Vegas. This is actually like an approachable one because not a lot of people are flying to Green Bay, Wisconsin in April.
Are you going to eat a lot of cheese?
Yeah. So I will have cheese curds. I will have Miller beer. I will have PBR because that is what Wisconsin makes. It wouldn't be a Wisconsin experience without those three things.
There you go.
On a more serious note, I'm going to try and actually tour Lambeau Field. We're going to just go around and see some of the sites of Milwaukee a little bit. And if anyone is actually from there, just hit me up in the comments section. Any recommendations for Milwaukee or Green Bay itself. But we'll have a couple days to spare, so should be fun. But I'm gonna be there, and I'm hoping to see Ashton Jeanty get called up and go on the stage. If he is actually there physically in Green Bay, then I'm fully planning on repping my Boise State gear. Otherwise, if he's not there, then I'll just wear my Seahawks stuff. But still, I can't wait. But in that regard, we thought we'd have a little bit of fun today and fun with you, our viewers, as well. Please join in the comments section because we've got two Broncos who are potentially going to get drafted this year. One being Jeanty as a shoo-in. Ahmed Hassanein is the kind of question mark. So we did a little reading and dug up a list of teams that these guys have been mock drafted to. So we decided we wanted to maybe try and pick their best situation, where we think they're going to go and where they'd be the best fit. So Karter, Chase, we'll start with Ashton Jeanty. We've seen him mocked.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. We've seen him mocked to Dallas, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Bears, and the Browns. Please not the Browns. Oh God. Please no.
Yeah.
I had to double tap. I was like, wait a minute. Did I write down the? Oh no. And then of course the Denver Broncos, which I'd be okay with that Bronco to Bronco. But so let's stay with Ashton Jeanty for a minute. Where would you like to see him go? Where do you think he's the best fit? Well, what do you guys think? Karter, you're not the NFL guy, so
I'll get my bad opinion out of the way.
Well, honestly, you could pick you could be like my wife and pick based on the best costume because that's what she calls the uniform.
I know enough about football to not say best costume. I would want him to go to actually New Orleans because of Kellen Moore.
Like that.
I think that would be awesome. They have a number 9 pick. I'm pretty sure who is their starting running back? Alvin Kamara.
Was that one? Is that one? Did I miss the Saints?
No, he is. I see one mock draft to the Saints.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, it's the guy. It's the Seahawks draft blog guy, actually. But
Alvin Kamara's 29. Like the Saints need a rebuild. They could. Is picking a running back at number 9 best for a rebuild? I don't know, but I just think Kellen Moore and Ashton Jeanty being together would be awesome. So I want him to go there. I most likely think he'll go to Dallas because he says he wants to go to Dallas. Dallas needs some sort of like superstar running back because this year they struggled without having Ezekiel Elliott or Pollard or whoever because they have a whole committee of running backs. So get your guy. Build up the offensive line because I'm pretty sure Zach Martin's retiring, but I'm pretty sure they still have a solid offensive line. Build off of Jeanty, maybe try to get a young quarterback because Dak Prescott's overrated as hell. But I think Dallas. That's probably going to be the place he goes.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you, and it pains me because that's such a bad situation. Like Dallas Cowboy fans. I don't like the Cowboys, but this is setting that bias aside because you guys have a terrible ownership situation, and that is and it's just a bad situation. And I don't want to see Jeanty going to something like that. And it's just, oh no, I don't like. right now it feels like Dallas is where you go it's one of those places you go to watch your career die. And I
Damn.
don't want it to be to be that way for Ashton Jeanty. My hot take is I think that the silver, white, silver look for your uniforms is awful. Just be all white or be all silver. It's
Now you're
dumb.
just
Make up your
putting out bad
mind.
feelings against the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Yeah. So I'm just throwing that out there. Anyways, and the logo, the star, that's just basic. Okay. Anyways, okay. Well, now we're gonna get some hate in the comments. Ooh.
I'd love nothing more than to hear from the 40-year-old men that want to argue in our comments about the Cowboys, because Lord knows they have no young fans. They have no wins to be happy about.
Yeah, they're not America's
Come on,
team.
Cowboys fans, let us have it.
Well, here's the thing: they want to call themselves America's team, but America likes a winner. So
Damn.
sorry.
It's so
You know,
true.
It's interesting because the Cowboys have the 12th pick, right? In my mind, that's still a little early to be getting a running back. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's still early, but Jerry Jones is the kind of guy that'll do that. Not that
Yeah.
it's going to be a bad pick because Jeanty's a stud, but I just worry about Schottenheimer as the head coach. He feels like a 1-year Band-Aid while they wait for the next cycle of head coaching. So you draft a guy like Ashton Jeanty that early in the first round. You have a 1-year head coach. Again, my opinion, maybe only stick around for 1 year before Jerry Jones cans him. Then you get a new coach in, and who knows how he feels about Jeanty and the run game, and maybe come from a not super fantastic situation to an even worse one. And that's what's hard about being a higher rated draft pick is you're going to go to teams that need a lot of rebuilding. The higher up you are, you can grab a quarterback, but your offensive line sucks. So your quarterback gets murdered every time he tries to drop back for a pass. So it's hard.
Yeah. I'm just saying that the Dallas Cowboys are the next New York Jets. So.
And I see this mock draft. I'm on NFLmockdraftdatabase.com. Yeah, and someone had him going number 2 to the Browns.
Yeah, no.
I can't see the number 2 pick being a running back.
No, especially because I imagine they're going to go for a quarterback.
But they've also got oh shoot, I'm blanking. They've got a solid running situation.
They have Nick Chubb, but he keeps getting hurt.
He can keep his knees intact.
Who's their number 2? It's more of a committee situation in Cleveland, and it wasn't bad. They had Nick Chubb, and then who else did they have?
I don't remember.
Browns fans, all 2 of you in the comment section, let me know about their running back depth.
All 2 of you.
All right. So personally, I think a good situation for Ashton Jeanty could actually be the Las Vegas Raiders. You've got Pete Carroll coming in. Chip Kelly is going to be his OC. And ownership has indicated with their support for Pete that they're willing to let him take a little time to build, even though they're gonna lip service like, hey, we're gonna go in and compete right away, and that is more or less that's Pete Carroll's track record. But I think they know that this is going to be a couple year build, like when Pete got hired in Seattle. His first year went 7-9, made the playoffs as the first team ever with a losing record to make the playoffs, but he did. And then that year they had the Beastquake, which was awesome. But Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. He wants to have an elite defense and run the ball. And who better to do that with than Ashton Jeanty? I think where the Raiders slotted to pick?
Number 6. They got the 6th pick, which is pretty early.
If they trade down, I could see them trading down.
Trading down, yeah.
Yeah.
Or trading or keeping that 6th pick, getting a stud O lineman, and then trading back into the first round, mid first round, and grabbing him. It would be
I could see that
an option.
I think he's such a good fit in the silver and black, and the Raiders might be a couple year build, but I feel like that's going to be a situation that just continues to improve rather than Dallas, which is just going to deteriorate, implode on itself. And like it's just awful in Dallas. So I really hope like he can take off those hometown goggles and be like, hey, maybe there's another situation like Denver. Denver could be a really good situation.
Denver would be a
Denver
good.
would be my top pick for him. You got a young quarterback who's learning and growing and playing pretty well. You got a decent defense. You got an O-line that's playing well. You got the number 20 pick. That's a
a running back pick.
If the Cowboys don't snag him at 12, I think 20 could be a legit option for the Broncos.
I'm not sure he falls to 20. Everything I'm seeing is him getting top 15 pick.
Well, he's ranked. I'm just looking at this draft, like the number 9 overall prospect, NFL prospect.
Yeah,
so
like I
falling
think
to the 20th would be hard. I'm with you, Carter. On that.
Yeah, because like you average running backs that are going to be drafted, maybe not that early, but everything I've seen, like I've seen comparisons to LaDainian Tomlinson. I'm seeing comparisons to like a supercharged Doug Martin, which could be a top 15 pick. Like I think this is a generational pick for Jeanty and for a franchise. So if he falls to 20, I feel like that would be kind of like a tumble for him. Not really, but like I'd be surprised if he falls to Denver.
And I do think free agency is going to be telling for some of these teams. Free agency starts was at first or second week of March. So that's going to be telling for what these guys or what these teams want to do in the draft.
It's just crazy how a team can determine a player's what they're remembered as, right? You get a stud player. What was that? David Carr going to the Texans, and O-line was holier than Swiss cheese, and he got destroyed. And someone with a ton of talent, if they're in a bad situation, it doesn't do anyone any favors. It doesn't go well.
Like every single quarterback to get drafted by Cleveland or the New York Jets for the last 700 years.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a reason why they call it the Factory of Sadness in Cleveland. Anyway,
and your mascot's the Browns. What is that? Anyway,
it's named after a guy.
You're orange. Your helmets are orange. Anyways, let's move on.
I love building our fan base by crapping on other people's fans.
Leave a comment. Let's go.
Yeah. Leave a comment. All right. Speaking of tangents, we got on a bit of a tangent there. So real quick, Ahmed Hassanein. He is, speaking of like how they can like pinpoint like rank people, he is the number 228 ranked prospect right now. And he's got a chance really to carve out a spot at the combine. He has the invite. That's going to be a big opportunity for him because we've talked about it before on this podcast where he's kind of an in-betweener with his size. He's got relative inexperience. He's played really well at the Shrine Bowl. He's got a lot going for him, but then he's got some marks against him. So right now, as it stands, he's looking at being like a day 3 pick. And I've seen him mocked to 2 teams and 2 teams only. I've seen him mocked to the New York Giants and the Cincinnati Bengals. Chase, Karter, have you seen anything else?
Yeah,
I haven't really been on the lookout for him, to be honest.
Yeah, no, so it's interesting because, like you said, he's a tweener, right? I see round 6, round 7. I'm just kind of on that same website, but clearly not nearly as much interest in him as Jeanty. But as you said, he's kind of a tweener. You know, NFL teams covet the amount of quarterback pressures he's had in college. Like that's a guy who can put pressure on the quarterback, whether it results in a sack or not. Those guys are worth their weight in gold in the NFL. But as you said, Evan, you look at him and you're like, okay, is he a D end? Is he an inside guy? Is he a 3-tech guy? Where do we put him?
Yeah.
You know, do we put him at outside backer? Is he only good in certain packages?
Special teams.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think that the best possible situation for him would be Cincinnati. I think that would be good. You've got a very good coaching staff there. You've got a good just general support from the ownership. So I think like that could be a place where he develops. New York, too unstable for my taste. Like I forget their head coach's name, but he's like, they had to come out with a statement this offseason and be like, no, we're not going to fire him. So it's like, all right, well,
that's what they say right before you fire him.
Yeah. So like, it's not a very good situation in New York. I would prefer to see him go to Cincinnati.
And Cincinnati's got a good pass rush situation as well. So if it's multiple guys that can rush the quarterback, that can really open up some things for Ahmed to really get in there and just be kind of a second or third option when the offense is focused on blocking other people, and he comes on in and makes some noise.
Yeah.
Well, also the thing, because he's going to the combine, this could all change. He could be some team that's looking for a defensive player could all of a sudden see him at the combine and
fall in love with him.
Minnesota picks him up or something, like something random.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he's gonna got to make his name on special teams. Like, I think he's talented enough to crack the active roster and then develop and learn and really make his name on special teams. And maybe he can find like a nice rotational spot in the NFL with the Bengals or some other team.
Yeah.
So as Karter said, this could all change. The NFL Combine is a huge opportunity for him.
It's a meat market. It's a meat market.
Yep. But anyways, before we move on,
but how big are his hands, Evan?
How big are the hands?
You know, I actually saw that they measure. I didn't write it down. It's
so crazy to me how much emphasis they put on that stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't give it more than 2 seconds. I was like, oh hey, yeah, they measured his hands. Why? All right, well, cool.
Grip the football for some reason.
Before we move on, I'll just say that I will try and if we see any Boise State players, I'll be trying to film, snap some photos for that. Like, it's going to be awesome. I really hope Ashton Jeanty does go to Green Bay for the draft. That'll be awesome. But
it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. But moving on, we've got a little bit of recruiting news, and then we'll get into the football schedule. So, Chase, who did we get?
Well, we got a couple of guys.
Interesting
enough. So the one that we're the most excited about, I think, is Jaden Mickey. He's a cornerback who transferred in, from Cal via Notre Dame, or however you want to look at that.
I think he got granted a release, so I don't know if he was ever technically on Cal's team.
Yeah, what was your favorite moment of the Jaden Mickey Cal era? No,
when he left, that was my favorite part.
So he was at Notre Dame for a couple years. He played as a true freshman, 3 years, I believe. Kind of got passed up by a sophomore this last year, and so we entered the transfer portal. He's usually from Southern California. He visited Boise State back in October, November. It was kind of a secret visit. We had information about it in the corral. And then he eventually signed with Cal. And then in late January, Cal's DB coach, Trey Watson, left for TCU. And so Mickey says, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. He's granted a release.
He doesn't want to go play for Avalos at TCU.
Doesn't want to follow Trey Watson to TCU. And he signed with Boise State just this week. So that's a big, Boise State lost a lot of DBs to the transfer portal. They were asked to go to the transfer portal. But Mickey is a nice little cherry on top of some of the JUCO and other transfer guys they've signed that I really think will retool this secondary. Maybe guys that fit Chinander's scheme a little bit better. So we'll see what happens with that one. The other one.
I told myself I wasn't going to dunk on Avalos, and then I did it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to play a video. Okay.
Oh no. Here we go.
Hold on, guys. Let's see if this works. I've never used this before.
You got it.
We believe in you, Chase.
Okay, here we go. Does this look familiar, Bronco Nation?
Oh, let's see.
Ooh. Ouch.
Oh, game winner on the blue by someone who is not a Boise State Bronco. That was Colton Boomer. And that name sounds familiar for a couple reasons. It's because he did kick that game winner for UCF against Boise State a couple years ago. What was the final score then? 18-16 or something like that?
Yeah.
It was a weird game.
We had a 1-point lead.
Yeah. But he played 3 years at UCF, and he is now a Boise State Bronco. Back on the blue.
Yeah.
He's originally from Florida. Signed with UCF, played there for 3 years, and Boise State was looking for a kicker to kind of replace Dalmas, and Boomer was available, and so it's kind of
hopefully he can redeem himself with the fan base.
Now he's got to hit a game winner for us on the blue.
Yeah, we play South Florida next year, so maybe against South Florida would be good. Although that's at South Florida, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would hope that we're not needing a game winner against South Florida.
I talked to their fans though; they think it's going to be a blowout for the Bulls.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So I was Florida.
Yeah.
Half of their
They
fan
also think the
base is
Heat's
Florida,
going to
man.
matter, as if the Heat has ever mattered. But I'm not going to get into that debate.
That's the same story every year when we go play down south.
Legit. If you go check out my account, like you could just look up home team in like the search bar, you'll see the tweet. It's just this generic, oh, Boise State won't be able to handle the Heat in hot state. Their team in hot state is gonna win by 2+ touchdowns.
I remember when we played Louisiana Lafayette, Florida State. Like it's the same thing every year.
I just don't expect Floridians to be that well informed, I guess.
Florida man.
Honestly,
but looking at Boomer's stats, he hit 93% of his field goals in 2022. He was 14 of 15. Then in 2023, he was 13 of 21. Last year, he only kicked 6 field goals, 3 of 6. Kind of number of production kind of dropped a little bit, which is probably why he hit the transfer portal. But a fresh start can be good. Start can be good. So
now, looking forward to watching him in a Boise State uniform. Never gonna forget that kick that you just threw up.
But we might come closer to forgiving him over time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. And you know what? If he gets a game winner against Notre Dame, then we can.
Yeah. And that's such a good kicker name.
Colton Boomer. Yeah.
Boomer. Yeah.
I'm sure our announcers are getting their calls ready.
Yeah,
they're gonna
things to say.
Yeah. Line up all the dad jokes. All right. So moving on, the schedule was released. And it's pretty cool. I like
you mean this schedule?
That schedule right there.
So we thought it would be fun to kind of do a quick round table for each of these games.
Yeah.
And say, well, how we think it's good. It's way too early to get ultra specific, but like just a nice, way too early win-loss kind of deal. So, and viewers, feel free to type in your own schedules with a W or an L next to them. Make your predictions. It's a way to. It's February. Let's just have a little fun. So let's get things started. We've got South Florida. Home of Florida Man and nothing else. What is South Florida? Is that in Tampa Bay?
It's in Tampa Bay, which is not south in Florida at all. It's like the middle.
Yeah.
But,
so it should be Central Florida.
These directional schools.
Yeah.
University of Central Florida at Tampa Bay. That's what it should be.
There you go. UCFTB. There you go.
UCFTB. Sure. Oh, when did we become such smack talkers? I guess that's a clean version.
I've always been this way.
Well, this just gave us a platform to express.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is. I've always been this way. Now I just have somewhere to say it.
All right,
August 30th in Central/South Florida. It's going to be hot and stinky, right? That's the concern.
That's what they hope for.
That's what they say.
Well, I mean, I think they're going to get their wish. Chase, win or loss? What do you think?
Oh, I think that's a win. I was looking at their schedule. They were 7-6 last year, 6-6 going into bowl season. They beat San Jose State in quintuple overtime.
Ooh.
At the Hawaii Bowl. Yeah, without, and you can read what you want into the bowl game stuff because everyone transfers in and out, and no one knows who's actually going to play. Mm-hmm. They're a mid-tier team, 6-6. Weather may be on their side, although as we mentioned, that's never been an issue before. Outside of Boise State showing up and just completely crapping down their legs, I don't see how the Broncos lose this game. At South Florida.
Karter.
Yeah, kind of the same. I'm just pulling up their recruiting profile right now, seeing if they got any big sort of big transfers. Let me see here real quick. Defensive line.
Well, our quick round table is off to a quick start.
I mean, yeah, it's not that quick of a start. I mean, looking at their transfers, I don't see anything that's going to be very impactful. They do have one 4-star coming from Charlotte, so he was a little better at Charlotte. But I mean, kind of like Chase said. I mean, they lost to Rice the last game of the year. Got blown out by Tulane, 45-10. Got blown out by Miami, 50-15. Like. Lost to Navy 28-7. Like, I don't see anything impactful in their transfer. The team coming in doesn't look good. So, I mean, I probably a 10+ point win.
But Karter, they play in an NFL stadium. That is such good So many good things for recruiting.
I mean, of course. NFL stadiums that are 3/4 empty for home games does so much for recruiting.
With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers colors and pictures, logos everywhere.
Of course, but of course, a deal was
on.
made where they have their own locker room, and it's on the up and up. You know, it's on the up and up. Whatever. By the way, no. I'm starting a whole thing here. J.D. Pickett or whatever, Pickell from On 3. Do you guys know who that is?
I saw your tweet this morning.
Name,
yes. Hold on. I'm going on a tangent. You guys can't stop me. I'm making this my own thing.
We're
now.
just going to get out of your way. We're not going to try and stop
Exactly. Here it goes.
Roll with it.
J.D. Pickell. Here it is. I'm streaming something.
Oh, geez.
Hold on.
The anticipation is killing
All right,
me.
do you see it?
Nope. Oh, now I do.
Yeah, you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, Las Vegas, apparently America's next great college town. J.D. Pickell should not have a job.
Yeah.
This guy, for all last season, that
Elon
guy was
Musk,
annoying.
will you block his account, please?
Please block it. That he was so annoying about Ashton's Heisman season. Now he's saying that because they hired Dan Mullen, a guy that got fired from Florida. Like he wasn't a head coach, and now all of a sudden because he's at UNLV, it's good. Like no, it's so stupid. I got on my own little soapbox here. I'm sorry. We're gonna win by 10.
Yeah, like Vegas being a college town.
No, never. The only
Vegas
reason it's
isn't
there
even a
is
town.
Exactly. It's only there for degenerate gamblers.
Pretty
It's
much.
a pro sports town. Nobody cares about UNLV. When Boise State came in, they barely got like 30,000 people.
Yeah. Whenever I think of Las Vegas, I'm just reminded of if you've ever seen Futurama, a quote from the character Bender Rodriguez of like, I'm just going to go play blackjack and fill in the blank there. So I'm not sure if I can say that on stream, but go watch Futurama. Great show.
Great show.
All right. Eastern Washington. I think we can just really quick round table. That on the blue Eastern, and that's no knock against Eastern. They are a quality Big Sky FCS program, but it's FCS program. We hope this is a tune-up game.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Whatever.
I mean, we are going to see Deshaun Misa. Maybe he did transfer there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He'll finally get playing time.
Happy
on the blue.
trails, Deshaun. Happy trails. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that's going well for him. But yeah, really should if there's any mistakes that were made during South Florida, we would hope to correct during Eastern Washington. These tune-up games are valuable because, as Chase has said a million times, the other side tries to. The talent gap is going to be there, and it allows you to build some confidence and work on plays in real time with real defenses.
Well, and I'm glad it's not like a 1 or 2 win FCS team. It's actually a good FCS team.
Like I said, respect on Eastern Washington. They are a good, respectable FCS program. I love the Inferno. Eventually, I got to make it out to a game there. But yeah, that should be a win.
Yep.
So moving on, because then we have a bye week, early bye week. I kind of like that before Air Force, and we have to get the offensive line ready for the chop blocks.
Get those knee braces ready to go.
Tight.
Yeah, get the knee braces ready. Get the defense ready for the triple option. I think, and thank God that's the last time. It's not even the triple option. It's more just okay, who's going to get injured playing Air Force?
Yeah, especially at Air Force, but it should be an easy win. I feel like Air Force kind of had it a few years ago. They had something cooking, and now it's gone.
They've
whatever
kind of deflated a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, whatever they had a few years ago, it's not there anymore.
I don't know if it's Calhoun's message is kind of falling flat. I do actually really respect Troy Calhoun. He's been there for a really long time. Probably could have gotten the job elsewhere, but he's stayed at Air Force. It might be a case where he's maybe hit his ceiling, though. I don't know. I don't know enough about Air Force.
Yeah, I don't know. But when you have the same head coach for as long as they have, you either have to have Nick Saban results or comparable, or just be okay with mediocrity.
Well, and they've had some good seasons. Boise State's 8-4 all time, including the last 2 wins against Air Force, and it's never easy there to play at Colorado Springs. It is earlier in the year. It's not like we're like the Wyoming game in November where it's going to be dumping snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the atmosphere is different. It's not a normal college stadium there. But yeah, Boise State should win that game. I don't want to say handily, but I think comfortably.
Yeah, I think like it's a quicker game because they're going to run the ball. We're still going to be a run first offense, so I think a little low score. But it's a game where if we get like a 10-point win, it means we won handily.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I'd say maybe 14, maybe like a 28 to 14, 21 to 7.
Low scoring, absolutely. I can see that for sure.
I'd be happy with 21 to 7. Now, is that at the end of September or early October?
That is
middle of September.
Mid-September.
Mid-September. Okay.
About the middle.
Weather should still be that actually should be pretty nice.
Should be good.
Maybe a little rain.
Not going to Wyoming in November, it's not going to be too bad.
Which we don't have to do this season.
Yeah, conspicuously absent is Wyoming. That is
Womp.
I'm not mad about it.
Nope. Yeah. Next up, we have probably one of the most fun non-cons we've had in ages, probably since UCF. And that's App State, a program that I think all of us can say that we love that program. When they're not playing Boise State, we are App State fans. So if there's any App State fans watching this, like, we just know, like, Group of 5 solidarity, we love you guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to like what I have to say, but yeah, they're a good program. They're a good program.
I think the world of them, what they've been able to accomplish since making the jump from the FCS to the FBS.
Yeah.
And it's a place that I would love to go travel to see a game. I don't think I'm going to get to.
Boone, North Carolina.
Yep.
I'd love to go. I think Chase will get yours out of the way and then let Karter have his little rant there. Chase,
they were 5-6 last year. They did have a game against Liberty canceled because of the hurricane in late September. Like I said, they're a program that was really good at the FCS level, at the FBS level. They've been okay. They've had some good seasons, some good runs. It's at home. I don't think we talk about Boise State going to Florida and not being prepared for the environment and the weather. I don't know if App State knows what's waiting for them on the blue when they come to Boise State. To me, this game should be a bigger blowout than Eastern Washington.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could see that.
I mean, to be fair, App State did walk into the big house and beat Michigan.
Was that 20 years ago?
Back when I was 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost to Georgia Southern at the last end of the season last year.
Yep.
Which, comparing schedule-wise,
Yeah.
All right, Karter.
No, I'm just saying, 5-6, they had the 11th best recruiting class in the Sun Belt. There's only 14 teams. They did bring in 17 transfers, so this team could be a little better than we think, but I also am wary of teams bringing in anything more than maybe 10 transfers, because at that point it feels like you're trying to supplement a team more than plug holes. So I really highly doubt that App State's really going to pick it up in one season, like some quick turnaround. I actually agree with Chase. This should be a blowout. Like I think the networks are going to build it up as like a top Group of 5 matchup, because App State has had success. Like, these are two of the most successful G5 teams in, I'd say, the past decade or whatever. But I just don't see how it'll be close unless we have some injuries or some of their transfers are just superstars.
Yeah, and they're still building up their program. Maybe the game in Boone will be a little bit closer, but
could be. I could see that.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think general consensus, this is going to be a win, and then Boise State will start the season 4-0. It shapes up nicely for a ranked clash in South Bend, Indiana.
Yep.
So that's the one. I'll get us started because I think this game will be – I think our defense is going to take a step forward. Notre Dame is going to score on us still. There's too many question marks to really make a nice prediction yet. I think Chenander will still be aggressive. I think Notre Dame is well coached as much. And listen, this pains me to say anything nice about Notre Dame because they're one of my most hated college football programs of all time. They are the trust fund kids of college football. I hate them, and I do wish I was going to that game. But this game will be won or lost based on, I think, if the offense can keep up the offense is going to look different this year. Dirk Cutter's already said they might be a little bit more pass happy. So how's that going to look? We're going to have to – we can't be one-dimensional like we were against Penn State. A team that good can just go ahead and take it away and say, hey, you have to pass it on us. So we have to be multidimensional. We have to be creative. Can we execute? Can the defense do it? Ultimately, I think we're going to come up short. I think it's another game where we have to shoot for a quality loss on that one, just because I don't think this program is there yet. We are still building. We're getting better. I think year 3 under Spencer Danielson, that's when we start looking at like, hey, we might be able to like knock off some of the Goliaths. But for right now, keeping it close, that would be a huge win against what will be hopefully still a top 5, if not number 1, number 2 Notre Dame in South Bend. So I'm hoping for, I mean, if we get another 3-point loss like we did against Oregon, that's great. One, like keep it to 10 or within, and that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. And Notre Dame still has that NBC deal, right? So Boise State could be playing on NBC, like NBC, big boy NBC, right?
I bet that happens.
And so win or loss, I hope they show up and play well and they acquit themselves well in front of a national audience like that. Notre Dame is one of the most historic football programs, as Evan said. Maybe they're still riding the coattails of the history from 100 years ago, however long it was. And I'm with you, Evan. I see a loss there, but I reserve the right to change my opinion based on how our first 4 games go and how their first few games go.
Well, that's why this is way too early. We don't lock in our predictions until like the final podcast of the offseason. That's when we're going to lock it in.
We could see Maddox Madsen go full Kellen Moore and have a bunch of stud receivers just running free down the field all year. And then it's like, okay, I feel way better going into this game than I did right now in February. You know,
I think that's what we're going to need. We're going to need Maddox Madsen. He's undersized, doesn't have the arm strength for the deep ball. We're going to need him to find himself in the pass game, star in his role, and make just quick, accurate throws, be decisive. Don't hold on to the ball for too long, run when needed, and just be the best version of Maddox Madsen. Because if he can do that, I think that's good enough to win. I think that's good enough to beat Notre Dame when you have the weapons that we do on offense. Oh, we lost Chase.
Oh, Chase left. That sucks. I'll give my opinion. This is tough because doing some research here, Notre Dame lost 8 combine level players to the draft this year. There's 8 players going to the combine. They also lost 9 outgoing transfers, including some important guys on the interior offensive line. And also, if you look at their schedule, the first 4 games they play are at Miami, Texas A&M, Purdue, and Arkansas. Now, some of those teams aren't, world breakers, but that's 4 straight Power 4 teams that they have to play before you get into the Boise State game. So I do think Boise State does end up losing, but as you guys kind of said, it'll also depend on how we look. But just seeing how they lost 8 draftable players, they lost 8 people to the transfer portal, they have a hard beginning season, a hard 4 games of the season, this game could end up being some sort of an upset like potential.
Yeah.
I'm more confident looking into Notre Dame now than I was like maybe 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that game against Miami, that'll be a good measuring stick because they are going to be legitimately very good. Purdue is trash. Texas A&M is mediocre at best. But who was the 4th team you said?
I mean, it was let's see here: Miami, Texas A&M, Purdue, and Arkansas. So not world beaters.
Yeah,
but still, that's mid-tier Power 4 teams that you could.
I think the measuring stick for Notre Dame will be Miami. They really should be able to walk all over the other teams. So, in fact, like I would pick Boise State against Purdue. I'd pick Boise State against Arkansas. I'd pick Boise State against Texas A&M. None of those teams really scare me per se. It's just these top 10 programs that are really hitting their stride right now. I don't know if we have enough ammo to really beat them. We can hang with them. I don't think we can beat them yet. Still building this program. But moving on, I think we've talked to Notre Dame to death.
I'm back. Sorry, I had a small child that was harassing me.
That's all right. I
Love
think
it.
these next few games we could probably just, maybe
I
accept.
agree.
New Mexico was okay, and they lost their coach. UNLV, dude, I don't know what to say about them. Dan
well,
Mullen,
yeah.
they got a bunch of transfers.
quick,
I
so-
don't know.
Well, yeah, let's not go too fast now, Chase.
Yeah,
Like,
not
Moving
too
on.
fast.
I'm just kidding.
moving
Yeah.
on. Now we're on the Fresno game. No, so New Mexico,
oh,
they
God.
lost everybody. I mean, they lost Mendenhall. They lost
Yeah.
Devin Dampier, I think, which was probably
Give it to
their
Utah. Yeah.
Yeah, the only bit of offense. So like they got Jason Eck. He's a good coach. What he did at Idaho, now that he's not at Idaho anymore, I can say was good. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're not walking into Boise with a
Hey,
first year
if
team.
you can win at Idaho, you're a good coach. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You're not walking into Boise with a first year FBS head coach and doing anything special.
Nope.
So
Yeah, no, I
sorry, we
agree.
got to leave you behind, Eck. But
Yeah, New Mexico, they're in a completely different. They're rebuilding once again, so I think that's almost like a bye week. That's the New Mexico
they
bye
may
week.
strike gold with a couple of the transfers, and they're really good, but that's not going to be enough to.
Yeah.
To
Again, I
overcome
think-
Boise State in Boise.
All kind of smack talk aside, I think if they can hold on to Eck, he can build them into a good program. But can they hold on to him? Just like with Bronco Mendenhall, the whole Mountain West Pac-12 thing, is Eck just like gonna really try and show up for a couple years and then bail, like use it as a stepping stone? I don't know, but like it, if they can hold on to Eck, I think New Mexico could be a pretty good program in 2 or 3 years. So anyways, moving on to UNLV, because that's the other like kind of big one. I think they're talking a lot of smack online. They are feeling
what's new?
themselves. Yeah. And for a team that really hasn't won anything.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the UNLV game is kind of the same to me as the App State game, where it feels like they're supplementing a team. I mean, when you look at Dan Mullen, I mean, his last 2 years at Florida weren't anything crazy. He hasn't coached in what's going to be now 4 years. It just seems like Barry Odom 2.0, like, oh, a former SEC coach. We got a bunch of transfers. We're going to be amazing. But, I mean, I guess this is just a game where we have to see how they turn out. But
ooh, a
I
little bit
don't
of a callback, because last week we talked about how like they as a team they're just going to rely solely on individual talent, and that's not enough. They're not going to really have enough time to create a system and to better use that talent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Dan Mullen is going to be a bad head coach there. I'm not saying UNLV can't win some Mountain West championships after all the good teams leave. But when I just can't buy Dan Mullen, kind of like with Eck, a Dan Mullen led team with a bunch of transfers, just walking into Boise and all of a sudden piecing it all together. Because Barry
this
Odom,
one's on the blue this year.
yes, Barry Odom, he was at least a second year. Like he had a whole year to kind of put it together. It's like, all right, this second year, now we're really going to try. And, I think they were better than the first year. So UNLV could get better, but I don't know. It's Rebel Girl and all those non-high IQ people just yapping.
Yeah, I think. Oh,
Yeah.
Jay, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think I've said this before on this podcast. Teams, generally speaking, will regress or progress to their average, their mean. And traditionally, what has UNLV been? Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen immediately. I think Dan Mullen will do okay. I don't think if he'll drag them back down to where they have been, but I don't think he'll bring them up to where Barry Odom had them. They're going to be an average Mountain West team.
Yeah.
This year, maybe even less than that, as they try to figure out the transfers. And by no means will it be an easy win for Boise State, but again, I don't see how Boise State could lose that game.
I like it being an emotionally charged game on the blue. I like that. And it's really UNLV is inviting this on themselves. With like the fans are going to be juiced for that game. They're going to circle it on their calendar. The team might be like, oh, they're
all 7 of them may come to the stadium to watch the game. I don't know.
But the fans, like they keep coming at us online. So it's like, you know what? We're going to make this place a living nightmare for you, like we did in the Mountain West title game.
It'll be sold out for sure.
Their 2 best seasons they've ever had, and what do they have to show for it?
They got beat by
Nothing.
Boise.
Literally
multiple times.
nothing. Literally nothing.
They went to the Mountain West Championship game. Like, okay, Air Force can say that. Wyoming can say that. Like, they didn't do anything. Looking at their schedule, they do play Air Force the week before us.
Oh, chop
So,
blocks.
Knees may be unhealthy at that.
No bye week. It's just from what I'm seeing, they go at Wyoming, Air Force, at Boise State. So they got Wyoming. They have to go to Laramie. Then Air Force comes to Vegas, but Air Force is Air Force. But
so 2 meat grinders before they come to the Blue.
I think so.
That's tough. All right. So real quick. Well, I mean, Nevada we can talk about for a second because you have the Jeff Choate effect.
And of emotionally charged stuff. I don't know.
I like. He's just he's like an overgrown like child almost with the way he's like reacting to all this. So like I've never said anything to him, and he blocked me on Twitter.
I think he's very much butthurt about not getting the Boise State job when he had it, and
I think so too.
And teams always take on the personality of their head coach, and he's a tough, put your nose to the grinder, get after it coach. The talent level is not anywhere near what Boise State has, but look what happened last year. Nevada probably should have won that game. I think this year's going to be different. I think it's going to be totally different feel this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Nevada fell in a weird spot on our schedule. It was 2 games after UNLV, after we blew out San Diego State, like before we were going to San Jose. It felt weird. I think Choate definitely hyped his guys up more, but now that we're going to play him again, it'll be in Nevada, so there's going to be no fan energy whatsoever. So
yeah, it'll be a pretty dead environment.
Garbage blowing across the field like there usually is.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can't see anything. The rest of the schedule, honestly, I can't see anything that's
the smell of cigarette smoke and throw up. Because that's why Reno smells. All right, yeah, I think that's a win. I think it'll be a little bit closer. I think Choate can motivate them, but I think that's a win for Boise.
Yeah. Not to interrupt, I did just notice something. Choate could also use this as like a calling card to his players of like they're disrespecting the conference. Because if you look, the next four games are all future Pac-12 teams. Nevada is the last Mountain West team that we play, so that could be some sort of last bit of motivation, like these guys are leaving us behind, all that sort of stuff. Like
send them on their way with a loss.
Exactly.
Yeah, he could, but I mean, it's got to be a little bit deflating for some of these teams that are getting left behind. Seeing that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's on them.
Fresno, they are very much rebuilding. Normally, I get like the milk can. It's very charged. Like, I love to hate Fresno. Like, my interactions with Fresno fans have actually been really positive. So, as much as I love to hate them, it's a rivalry I look forward to versus some other rivalries like Nevada. I don't look forward to that because their fans suck. Just as people, you guys just like, don't suck. Anyways, Fresno fans, generally speaking, very positive. So their program's just not in a good spot right now, which sucks because I like the Battle of the Milk Can to be competitive. I don't want to say we're going to roll over them on this one, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, Matt Entz, I think, is a great coach. I think he's going to do really well there. As you said, they've got to build. It's going to take some time for them to build that program up. They lost a bunch of people to the transfer portal, brought some guys in. I think Entz is a great coach. I just think this is going to be a down year for Fresno State.
Yeah,
I see Boise State at home, right? It's at home.
Yep.
Winning by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Just it's going to have that natural rivalry like hype. I imagine at this point, if the season's going the way we're going, there's going to be talk about Mountain West championships and college football playoff bids, and the team's going to be locked in. So I can't imagine Fresno showing up and causing any sort of noise.
Yeah. And then we have the bye week, which is really nice. Gets us ready for that last 3-game stretch, which I think on that the team, I think San Diego State probably puts up the biggest fight just because we're in the year 2 of oh my goodness, I just thank you, I brain farted,
and it's in San Diego at that weird sandbox stadium.
Yeah. But they had a down year last year. I think they fan base is very weary of that team.
Well, I mean, they have a fan base for basketball. At least they could build a fan base for football if their tickets were not like. I think some San Diego fans were posting about how their ticket prices were super high because they bought that new stadium and they can't fill it.
They got to pay for it somehow, right?
Yeah,
I think San Diego State is just the opposite of Boise State. Like, we have all these fans for football, but basketball you can't get them in. It's the same thing. It's just the fans are never going to be there for football unless they go to a Power 4 conference, which they're not. Like,
yeah, I mean, you could make the argument that it could be a Power 5.
I mean, maybe we could see, but I don't think San Diego State's ever going to have the fan base for it.
Yeah, it's year 2 of Sean Lewis. I think he's got a good mind. He has landed some good transfers, some good recruits. Still a little bit in the developmental stage. I think they'll put up a better fight than last year. I think they, it could be like a game where they get like later in the season where they just find a, I don't know, emotional tune and like where they gave Wazoo a run for their money.
Yeah.
So.
And they got what's his name? Danny O'Neal, the quarterback. He's going to be a true sophomore this year. He'll be better. He struggled a lot last year being a freshman. He's going to be the guy going forward unless there's an injury, and he'll be better. I just don't know what they have around him.
No.
I do think it's a win for us. I think that might be one of the tougher ones, but
close one.
Yeah. Moving on, Colorado State. I've been looking forward to this one because we have a little bit of
circled on my calendar.
Yeah, there's some demons that need to be exercised. I was really hoping Colorado State would make the Mountain West title game. They didn't, but this is the chance. Like, there's some guys who are still on the roster. Remember what happened a couple years ago? That Hail Mary, and with Dirk Cutter calling the game from the broadcast booth with, Andy Avalos as head coach, all that stuff going on. They remember that. I think this one is going to be a bit of a spanking, not necessarily because of anything that Colorado State did. It's just going to be Boise State will come out emotionally charged.
Yeah, to me, this is the last exorcism of the specter of Andy Avalos the team needs to. And maybe that's not till we play at Colorado State to get that, to wash that beast out of our mouths. But this game, Colorado State's good. I think their head coach, I forget, Norvell. I think he's great. I think he does a good job. I want Boise State to beat them by 300 points.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and Boise State will want that, so they don't come out play tight because of it. But this game should be a murder, for lack of a better phrase.
I'm with you. Norvell's a good coach. They are setting themselves up to be in probably a pretty good spot to compete in the new Pac-12, to be like, if they keep building, they should be able to come out and be like a pretty good team to start off. I think right now they're a pretty good team. It's more just, I think the emotional advantage or the emotional edge is going to be with Boise State on the blue, trying to exercise those demons they had.
Just think of the fans in the stadium. It's going to be be hellish for Colorado State.
Danielson's going to sit them down and make them watch that game.
Yep.
So, finally, to wrap us up today, Utah State. I would call that a trap game, but it's not much of it. It's like,
how many first-year head coaches is Boise State playing this year? I feel like we've been saying this over and over again, And Bronco Mendenhall does a good job. He knows Utah. He knows Boise State. He coached at BYU. Transfers brought in. A lot of guys from New Mexico followed him up there. Again, I do not see a first-year head coach at a mid-level Mountain West team beating Boise State in his first year.
Yep.
Well, they've had, Mendenhall's a stabilizing force, but you look at that roster, so much turnover. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think, again, Utah State, like Colorado State, is setting themselves up to be decent in the Pac-12 years. But this year, I don't think it's going to be very pretty for Bronco. The Broncos are going to, I don't want to say kick their teeth in, but
they'll roll them.
they'll roll them. So
that's in the Cache Valley and Logan. Maybe I'll cruise on down there for a game. I've never been to Logan. Maybe that'll be a good time for me to head down there.
Yeah, and in November, I'll be maybe snow on the ground.
I'll layer up. Don't worry, I'll layer up.
All right, so that brings us to our consensus is a way too early 11-1 for Boise State with a close loss, hopefully a close loss at Notre Dame. Otherwise, this schedule is looking mighty friendly for the Broncos. A very good Group of 5 schedule, and hopefully a Mountain West title with another bid to the college football playoff. But viewers, tell us what you think in the comment section. Write your own little schedules and do your own little synopsis. Have a little fun. It's a Saturday. The weather is not that great outside anyway. Why not just watch and comment with us? So tell us where we got it wrong. Tell us where we got it right. And just follow all of us on socials. And thank you for watching. Go Broncos. Have a good one. Let's go!